97th lesson.
Learn this lesson as usual. Then answer the following questions with the help of the preceding lesson.
How much did David have to pay the doctor when he was ill?
What does National Health Service mean?
How is the National Health Service financed?
Whose responsibility is the weekly contribution?
Who has to make national insurance contributions?
Does the employer pay anything?
Who receives supplementary benefit?
Who are senior citizens?
Two little boys who were visiting the British Museum stopped to look at an Egyptian mummy.
The mummy was covered with bandages and had a sign with 1215 BC around its neck.
I wonder what that sign means,
said one of the boys.
Oh, that must be the number of the car which knocked him over,
replied his friend.
'98th lesson. Revision and notes. No recording for this lesson.
'99th lesson. Emergency.
The 99th lesson reminds me of the police.
Why?
Because if there is an emergency and you need the police, or an ambulance, or the fire brigade, you simply dial 999. The operator replies immediately.
Emergency? Which service do you require?
Excuse me, I'm a foreigner. Could you show me how to use the phone?
Of course, sir. Have you got your number? If not, we can look it up in the directory. Right. Now first, you lift the receiver and wait for the tone. Next, you dial your number and wait until it rings. You must have 10 pence ready. When the person answers, you push your coin into the slot and talk. You see? It's not at all complicated.
Yes, I see. Thank you. You're very kind.
Not at all. Goodbye.
'100th lesson.
This is our 100th lesson. If you have spent an average of half an hour, revision included, on each of the preceding ones, it makes a total of nearly 50 hours.
Are you pleased with the result of your work?
Obviously, you do not know by heart every word and every expression we have seen. That would be too perfect.
Learning a foreign language is a matter of patience, regular daily repetition, and optimism.
Somebody once said that English was like Mount Everest, because access is easy, but the summit is impossible to reach.
We think this is wrong, because nobody speaks his own language perfectly.
You must try by regular practice to climb as high as you want until you feel comfortable.
But be careful. In order not to fall, you must practice as often as possible.
You will learn new words and expressions, and forget them, and learn them again, and forget them once more.
But you are making progress. Compare what you know now with what you knew 3 months ago.
The hardest and most tedious part of your work is done. Before long, you will speak fluently.
But remember, in order to stay on the mountain, you need daily practice.
101st lesson. Some stories.
Believe me, all women are silly. I have only met one intelligent woman in my whole life.
Why didn't you marry her then?
I asked her, but she refused me.
Have I shaved you before, sir?
No, I got those scars during the war.
Listen, Tommy. If you promise never to say that rude word again, I will give you 10 pence.
Oh, I know another that is worth at least 50 pence.
The manager of a large firm criticised an employee for his inefficiency.
The employee was so annoyed that he started criticising the way in which the company was run.
Are you the manager of this company? The manager asked him furiously.
Of course not, said the employee.
Then don't talk like a fool, shouted the manager.
A pessimist reminds us that a cup is half empty, and an optimist reminds us that it is half full.
102nd lesson.
Outside the art gallery.
I liked that exhibition very much, especially the modern painting of a man on a horse.
How do you know it was a man on a horse?
Well, it was obvious, wasn't it?
In that case, it couldn't have been a modern painting.
A mother had just scolded her son, and he started crying.
At that moment, his father came in.
What's the matter with you? He asked.
The child turned his back and said nothing.
Come on, said his father. Tell Daddy. The son turned round.
If you must know, I've just had an argument with your wife.
We're looking for someone who is used to ordering men.
In that case, you want my wife.
Do not forget to learn a few irregular verbs from time to time.
103rd lesson.
An Englishman uses an average of 1,000 words in his spoken vocabulary.
His reading vocabulary is much larger, between 3,000 and 4,000, but many of these words are not used in everyday communication.
When you come to the end of this course, you will be able to use about 3,000 English words.
The English vocabulary is composed of roughly 50% Latin words and 50% Germanic ones. So there are often two words to describe the same thing.
But don't worry, only those who do crossword puzzles or play word games know the thousands of unusual words in the language.
English also adopts words very easily, so that often people do not realize that they are foreign words. So all nationalities feel at home speaking English.
Doctor, tell me frankly what is wrong with me. Not in Latin or Greek, but in simple plain words.
There's nothing wrong with you. You're a drunkard and a glutton.
Oh, well, say it in Latin and Greek so I can tell my wife.
104th lesson, Aphorisms.
Don't criticize society. Only those who can't get into it do that.
The only way to get rid of a temptation is to yield to it.
An ex-president revisiting the White House. It's a nice place to visit, but I prefer to live here.
The best way to forget your troubles is to wear tight shoes.
An enthusiastic young priest. What a beautiful moon! And it's in my parish.
Money cannot buy you friends, but it can buy you a better class of enemy.
Man, to a woman who accused him of being drunk.
Madam, you are ugly, but tomorrow I will be sober.
It's not that money makes everything good. It's that no money makes everything bad.
The only way to behave to a woman is to make love to her if she is beautiful, and to someone else if she is plain.
Your health comes first. You can hang yourself later.
A fool is someone who walks into his friend's antique shop and shouts, "What's new?"
105th lesson. Revision and notes. No recording for this lesson.
_106th lesson. We must make a decision.
We must decide where to go for our holidays. We should have decided months ago.
I'll be down in a minute. I've got to finish this article I'm writing.
Have you got everything you need?
Yes, thanks.
Joan picked up a brochure and read, "To be sure of obtaining a place, it is necessary to book well in advance."
And, in another one, "You must book early to avoid the rush."
Joan was very angry because it was already the middle of June and they had done nothing.
Well, if you're going to do something, you should do it properly, she thought.
She looked through the pile of brochures and then went to make a cup of tea.
David, having finished his article, came downstairs. He stopped and picked up the post from the mat.
Oh, look, still more brochures. We've got more than we need.
Joan was furious. "You need a stick of dynamite to move you," she shouted.
Oh, come on. Don't be angry. Make the tea.
"Make it yourself," shouted Joan, and went out, slamming the door.
David scratched his head. But what did I do?